Okay, so we had some fun with just looking at the strengths and weaknesses of different data types, primitive data types um, in Java. So I'm done with my double tester, noting that very cool, lots of really big or really small numbers, but there is a rounding issue that I do have to pay attention to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do some math. Not a lot of it, but a little bit. And I'll be honest, I haven't run this with a class before, so this might be asking for a lot. I'm trying to provide you with a fair amount of help, but you have to kind of know where to look. So for those new to the whole experience, we'll just kind of see where this goes. So kind of play around, look, see if it works, see if you can understand the code that I've written. How might you try to use it? And if it totally bombs, doesn't work, don't worry about it. All right. So the idea is that you just have kind of some experience. This is your first time foray into Java. Let's see if we can get that to work. So let's take a look at this double count. Same thing happens. I call main. It's going to skip the first three methods because they're commented out, and it's going to run double test. I'm sorry, minuteCalc, and it's going to find where is that minuteCalc? Oh wait, here it is. So here is a minute calculator, and the idea is that a user is going to input a date, and it will tell you how many minutes are between now and then. So this is why I needed to import a scanner. Scanner scan equals new scanner system in. This will become very clear and have such an obvious line to you at some point in the near future. So it's very similar to if I wanted to make an int score. So when do you do that? Int score, not reading. I don't want it to be read only. Oh, there we go. Is it happier now? Int score equals 0. So here's an int variable that I'm declaring. I got to say what type of data it is. It's going to be an integer. The name is score, and I'm going to assign it to a value. Well, this is an object, this scanner scan thing. What kind of an object is it? Well, it's a scanner object, obviously. What does a scanner object do? Well, that's a whole nother question. So this is the data type that it is. It's a scanner object. Here's its name. I could call it Fred. I could call it Mr. Clifford's the coolest guy ever. Here's that assignment operator, just like it is up above. But because it's an object, I can't assign it to 5. I've got to create a new scanner object and assign this variable to that new scanner object that I just made. If that makes sense, you're going to get a 5 on the AP exam. So that's a lot, but hopefully you see some parallels between the primitive data and the object that I just created. I make this scanner object that is going to allow the user to use the keyboard to enter some data. By the way, scanner is not on the AP exam. I'm going to output, hey, enter a date and use this format. Well, I'm smart. I know how to read that. I know how to do that, but a lot of users aren't. So there's a good chance that they could put the date in backwards. If they're from Europe, they're going to put the day first and the month second. There might be some wise guy that's going to be putting in April 22nd, something like that. I want to be able to test it. So I'm going to prompt the user to put in some data. Notice that what we did up here is we called print line, systemout.println. Here, this is not a print line. This is a print. There's a difference between these two methods, and this is on the AP exam. Print line says output some information, some score, a variable, a text, whatever. And when you get to the end of that, where do you put the cursor? Print line means put the cursor on the line directly underneath it. So I can output, and that's what we typically do. Output, and then output, and then output, and it will go down the line. If I print, on the other hand, that says output what's in between the open and the closed parentheses, but keep the cursor right there. So what this is going to do is it's going to output enter a new date. The cursor is going to be blinking right next to the prompt. Then I want to store whatever they type in a variable called new date. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to output, what did they type? So I'll see it because they just typed it. Did that get stored correctly? I'm going to output whatever that happens to be. I'm doing, this is a method that I wrote. All right. So this test date format, it takes a string, which is the new date, as a parameter, and it looks to see, is that number correct? So I'm going to comment out this, and what the heck, we'll see it twice. If I run this code now, here it is. It's stuck. It's kind of like a while loop, this scanner scan thing. So it made a new scanner. That part, it's not stuck there. It ran that. Then it ran the next line, enter new date. And so here it is. The cursor is right next to, there's a little space in between. It's intentional on my part. So the cursor's a space away from the colon there. And then this is where it's getting hung up. Next line is waiting for me to hit the enter key. So I'm going to put in 07/18/1962, right? Which is, oops, sorry, that's in the wrong spot. Which is a great date because that's my birthday. So 07/18/1962. I've not hit enter yet, so it is still waiting for me. And it just is kind of hanging out there. It's kind of like that while loop thing. Boom, there it goes. And then it's all I'm doing on the next line is, hey, output whatever they typed. That's what I typed. All right, so I'm seeing it twice. It is getting I have a line commented out. We'll look at that in just a second. Now I'm trying to get the current date. This is also a method that I wrote, all right? And that's right below here. All I'm doing in this case, so I needed to use the calendar class. This is that import that we did at the very top of the class here. So I imported scanner, I imported calendar. Those two do not come with language. If it doesn't come with lang, then you have to import it. So I'm importing that, and I create this variable called answer, and that ultimately is what I'm going to be returning. And I fill answer with all of the different elements that I want. So I need to fill it with the month. Problem is that in calendar, there's two problems. Calendar, if it's January, it does not put it as 01, it puts it as 1. Technically, it doesn't even do that. It puts it as 0. So it's the month in the calendar class is one less than what you want because it starts at 0. That might make sense. Don't worry about it if it doesn't. So what I want to do, I want it to make sure that the format of this date is exactly the same as what I'm prompting the user to do. So I'm getting the current month. If it's less than 10, I'm adding 1 to it. I'm sorry, adding a 0 before it, and then I'm going to join my answer with whatever was there before, which was nothing, plus the month. All right, and so that's going to have, if it's less than 10, it's not October yet, then it'll be 09 or something like that, and then it's going to put a slash. You do the same thing with the day, check to see, is it less than 10? If it's less than 10, then it's going to add a 0. Then I'm going to add what was previously an answer, so 07, 04, that is day, and then another slash, and then I'm going to get the current year. So this is going to be able to output the current date in the same format that we would all recognize. I am going to copy this line here and just test to see, is that correct? It's not new date. Okay, bounced for some reason. I want to see, I got now. Right? Now is another variable. It's type string, and it's getting the correct date from the method that I just showed you. So I should see two. I don't need to see this one anymore because that one is what the user typed, all right? And I know that that is working. So sometimes I'll do that. I'll have the user type something and did that stored in the right variable in the right way. It's a good idea to do those kinds of tests. So now when this runs, I should be prompted to enter a date, sort of. Not sure why it's not happy. We'll stop it. We'll try it again. One reason why Replit has some bugs. Okay, is it going? It's running main. I'm running the right one, right? I didn't comment on it. Yep. Not sure why it suddenly decided not to run my code here. Hold on. Okay. I ended up somehow deleting the prompt. So it was running, but it was in the middle of my scan next line waiting for me to type, and that was not, I had to overlook that. Easy to do because it's kind of like that. So if I were to run it now, here's the prompt. So 07/18/1962, and enter, and there we go. Now it's getting the current date. You'll notice that. So, but this is, if you look at my system, it's actually the 9th. It's outputting the 10th. That's because it's getting Greenwich Mean Time, which is in England, and it's after midnight there. So the date is actually kicking up one. Getting it to local time, that was a little down the road. So I'm able to establish this, and I'm able to establish now. The other thing, that just to show you some of these methods in here, I can take a string that is in a properly formatted manner and get the month. It's going to return the 2 digits of the month that are going to be correct. I can do the same thing. I've got to get day, a get year, so I can identify what year is this, what year was that. And then it is this one I'm kind of proud of. So this is the test date format. So you know that people can enter dates in all sorts of different kinds of ways. They can spell it out, they can forget things, they can do all sorts of different things and get it wrong. I want to make sure that it is in that month, day, year format. And so this is my best way of accomplishing that. So they're going to pass a string, whatever they typed in that scanner bit, that's going to get passed to this particular method. Now I've got whatever they typed. So D is a variable just a temporary variable, a local variable, and that's going to be, I'm going to assign whatever the user typed into the scanner next line bit is going to go into D. Now I can format that and see, is it correct? So there are 10 digits in the 2-day month plus a slash, 2 days, 2 digits for the day, and 4 digits for the year. That's a total of 10. So the first thing that I do is, if the length of D is not 10, if it's less than that, if it's more than that, they did it incorrectly. So I'm going to let them know what the problem is. I'm going to say, hey, you did this incorrectly. Wrong month. I'm sorry, wrong length, meaning that it's either too short or too long. I don't know which. And I'm going to return false. Once I hit this return, it skips everything else in the program, so in the method. So it looks, oh, wait a second, you're done here? Okay, I'm going to kick back. I want to make sure that they actually typed numbers. What if they wrote X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z, Z? Z. This is testing to see, is the first two, are those integers? Is the second two integers? Are the last four integers? And if that is correct, great. If it is not, I'm going to output you didn't enter numbers. Which one was it? I don't know, nor do I really care. So I'm just going to say you didn't enter a number, and I'm going to return false. Now I want to make sure that the numbers that they put in are valid months in the typical way that months and days are counted. All right, so January is 1, February is 2, and so on and so forth, right? So on the month, if the month is less than 0, if they put less than 1 rather, if they put a 0, if they put a negative value in there, that's a number, but it's not a valid month number. If it's, this is an or, so if either it's less than 1 or if it's greater than 12, I know that they did the day, I'm sorry, the month is invalid. It's either too small or it's too big. I'm going to do the same thing with the day. If it's less than 1, you can't have, oh, it's the 0th of February, or if it's larger than that. Now, admittedly, I'm only testing 31, all right? So if they put in February 31st, okay, you got me. I could be really, keep going there and just make sure that they, the February's dealt with, and the months that have 30 days in it. I'm not going there. You can if you were so inclined. And then the last thing to do on the year, and I think you can test, get days all the way back to the year 0. So if they put a negative value, so anything BC, where I'm not going to deal with that. And I'm also you can't be in the future. All right, so that's the other thing. So that if it's 2025, that's invalid. In my opinion. So that is, I'm going to return false at that point. If I go through all of these ifs, here's an if, there's the first one. This try catch doesn't look like an if, but it is. Here's testing is the month, the day, and the year right. If any of those are invalid, return false. In all other cases, if you get to line 174 and you've not returned false yet, well, guess what? Your date is in fact valid. So let's try that out. And so where did mine? There's byte, there's int, there's double, here's a minute. All right. So I'm going to uncomment out this line, this guy here. So I'm going to just output, I'm going to test the new date that they entered. I'm prompting them to put in a date, sorry. I'm going to store that in a string, and now in a variable called new date. And now I want to test that. So it's going to output true or false at that point. This one is working. I'm not going to output that. So that one is working well. We're all good. So let's run it and run some invalid dates here, see what happens. So put in a thing, and I'll put in July 18, 1962, enter. So that's way longer. So that's an invalid. It's outputting wrong length. Notice that I kind of tabbed over. That was a way of making that stand out. And now I'm system outing that method. And that's returning a true or false. It returned false in this case. So I now know that that was an invalid way to do that. Let me do that a second time. We'll run it again. Enter a date, and now maybe I was born in negative 07 slash, and that's going to put me over on the thing. So I'll put 1 slash 1962. So the number of digits, that is 10. All right, but because someone didn't like, I think it didn't like the fact that the /1 was, so maybe we'll put in a negative year. That would be a better test. So if any of those things are off, it will be problematic. So 07/18/-1960. I'm a really old guy. Born 1962 before Christ. Like that one. Okay, one more time just to prove my point. Now I'm beating a dead horse again. 07/-1960. That's the right number. That's a negative value. And when I hit enter, it should come back. That year is not accurate. Same thing happens on, if I put -7, that would still be, all that stuff works. And trust me on that, it does in fact do the thing. Same thing if I put in a positive value, but the number was really large. So 07/35/35/6, whatever, 1962. That's an invalid day. It's greater than 31. Now, again, I could put in February 25, or 29, 30, something like that, and it would think, oh, that's a valid date. So your job is going to be to calculate how many minutes are between two dates. Let's start. I'll just give you some tester code here. I've got new date, that's a legal date, and I've got now, that's a legal date. And then I've got these getter methods. I can get the month, the day, and the year between those two values. So what I'm going to do here is where code goes here. Let's say I just wanted to compare how many years are between these two dates. All right, so what I might do is I might create an int variable, and I'm going to be, so I would start small, start with a simple problem. How many years are between two dates? I have two valid dates, and I'll call this year difference, year diff. All right, and I'm going to make that. I'll set it equal to 0 for now. Oops, equals 0. So I've got these two dates. I've got now, and I have new date, and I want to compare. So now is 2020. The new date's got to be before now. All right. So I'm going to set year diff equal to now dot get year method minus new date, get year. And let me just double check that. It was in fact what I called it. Yep. So get year. And it takes, I just have it's not now dot, it's my bad, sorry. Oops. That's going to be main dot get year. Now I'm going to pass. Now the parameter is now, and the parameter is also going to be, sorry, my mistake, main customer. Get year, and that's going to be new date. I think that is, let's see if I get any compiling errors. Okay, so no, I'm not getting any compiling errors. So 07/18/19. Now it's not outputting that anything. All I'm doing is just getting saying that's a valid date, and I'm able to figure out how many years there are at this particular point. So now what I want to do is I want to system out. I'm going to output the answer. Print. I'm going to say uh, year difference is so I'm printing. Notice though that the cursor is going to stay on that same line, and I'm going to do another system out. And I'm going to join that with year diff. Right. So 2 outs, system outs, and this one might be a print line. So on the first one, I'm going to output some text on the same, and on the next line, I'm going to output this. There's ways of combining that. I didn't want to do that right now, so I'm just going to use this 2 system outs to output that. It's all going to be on one line. Let's take a look and see how old Clifford actually is. 0718/1962. I'm negative years old. That's good to know. Okay, sorry about that. I had a bug in my code. My get year was off, and so that's why it was picking up not the 4 digits. It was picking up the last 3 digits, and which was 020. So it looked like 20. It was subtracting the 1962 from 20 from that, and that's why I was getting a negative value. Now it's all good. So if I run this again, I will do this. So here now is, so I'll enter a date, and my birth date, 1/18, whatever, I'm off by day, 1962. That's my sister's birthday. She's older than I am, but so there's that. And 58, there you go. What do you know? So I'm able to calculate that. Can you figure out how to get how many months have there been? And maybe you got to figure out, oh, wait a second, is it, where are we on the calendar? Have we swung past what to the current date or not? So if my birthday was in October, I would want to count from October all the way around to September. Little tricky. Just try around, play around, see if you get some ideas, work together, and there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, I'll be here.